and good day, adventurers. Today we're going to be talking about one of my gauntlets. Specifically, we're going to be talking about the Gauntlet of Demonic Power. This one could be argued as the most ideal gauntlet out of all my gauntlets just because of how flexible it is with the ability score bonuses that it gives. But at the same time, this gauntlet, it comes with its own little niche. It comes with a voice in your head constantly asking you what you need to become more powerful. Either asking you at your levels. I recommend for a GM to play along with it, have a voice appear in the player's head every once in a while asking what they need to become more powerful, especially when they level up, specifically when they level up for sure, because that's when the gauntlet improves and that's when the gauntlet gives them their bonuses and so on and so forth. But it is a unique little gauntlet where your blood ends up becoming a weapon, your constitution score becomes a useful tool in everyday scenarios. And it is going to be extremely helpful and very versatile of all my gauntlets. So let's get into it. It's a very unique gauntlet. Shall we? So let's make big me disappear, little me appear, and let's bring up the document, shall we? So here we have the Gauntlet of Demonic Power. When you put this gauntlet on, tattoos of demonic nature burn into the skin as if alive, covering the right side of the body in blinding pain. So this adds a little roleplay effect because a lot of religious characters are going to be very wary of you because there's a very demonic nature about your character. This is very funny if it ends up being on a paladin because the gauntlet itself is not evil. It will not emanate evil at all because it is still, at the end of the day, it's more along the lines of a neutral party trying to make you stronger, but it is very evil seeming because the powers and abilities that you're going to get from this gauntlet are going to feel like they come from an evil source, and so it should give players that feeling. It should be able to allow players to role play that aspect when they show it off. But essentially, the gauntlet is going to be very versatile, very fun. So level 1, we have the first +2 to an ability score of the character's choice. I have them labeled like this: first, second, third, fourth, so on and so forth, because I want because there's another ability that coincides with this first choice, and so it's and then also the pumps later on and so on and so forth. I just want to make sure that you guys understand that there's a reason for them being called first and so on. Anyways, at level 2, you gain Blood Pact Transfusion. As a swift action, once per day, for each level you possess, you may take any amount of con score damage to give half that amount, minimum 1, to 2 ability scores of your choice. This bonus lasts until the end of your next turn. The con damage is healed when the bonus ends, but your hit points are not. So this is a fun little way to essentially give yourself a lot more flexibility in combat, because you can give yourself a better chance to hit or a better chance to dodge, give yourself a better reflex save or a better will save, or give yourself a skill temporarily, because it'll give it whenever you give yourself intelligence score, it should be kind of treated like you could either treat it like just gaining skill points to temporarily spend, or you can treat it like the headband of intelligence, in which you have to choose one skill to gain a number of skill points equal to your however many you would gain that level for your intelligence going up, or your charisma, improving your ability to communicate with others, diplomacy to intimidate or bluff, and so on and so forth. And so this is just a cool little effect. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that your hit points, your current hit points, and your max hit points are completely different things. When your constitution, from how I understand it, if I am wrong, I apologize, but I recommend you play it like this if I am wrong. How I understand it is that when you take damage to your constitution score, you lose an amount of hit points, of max hit points, equal to every 2 con score that you lost, or 1 for every for every 2 that you have, you get 1 hit point. So if you have a 15 and you lose 2, you lose 1 hit point per level. If you had 15 and you lost 1, you don't lose any hit points per level. And so and how this works is that if you had a con score of 15, and you, let's say, had 10 hit points, but let's say you only have 4 hit points, but your max is 10, and you minus your con score by 3. That loses 1 hit point per level. Let's say you're level 1 for whatever reason. You would lose 1 max hit point, but you wouldn't lose 1 to your current hit points because your current hit points are lower than your max hit points. The only time you lose actual hit points from your con score going down is if your current hit points are matching your max hit points and you're losing max hit points. Alright, so next off, level 3, you get your first +1 to all skills that use the same ability as your first choice above, or +1 HP to hit die per hit die if con is chosen. So this is this is the reason why we have the ability score bumps labeled as first, second, third, and fourth, because you're going to get skill points or HP bonuses based on those choices. And so you can stack them all on the Constitution and gain a bunch of bonuses of being able to use your blood pack transfusion and other abilities that you're going to get on this gauntlet, or you can fluctuate and make it whatever you guys need it to be. The gauntlet does ask you, what do you need to be more powerful? And this gauntlet is kind of hard to min-max just because of the fact that it is so flexible and how it can make you stronger. At level 4, you gain an ability called Blood Bond. Whenever someone spills your blood, they must make a reflex save DC 10 plus half your hit die plus your con modifier to avoid your blood spilling on them and marking them, allowing you to sense them and know their location at all times till they remove the blood with water, fire, acid, or any other way accepted by the GM as a full round action. When your blood is spilled, it splashes the ground beneath you and all squares within 5 feet. Your blood is essentially launching out of your body now. It is projecting in all directions as much as possible because your blood is starting to fight back. And you are able to sense, you don't know exactly, you don't get the details of where people are, but you're able to tell which direction they're in and how far they are. Not exactly how far they're away, but you can kind of tell they're very far away, they're not that far away, they're very close. Stuff like that you get to know. Be vague about it is my recommendation for your GM, or if you are the GM and you're using this gauntlet, I recommend that you be vague on how close and so on and so forth and which direction they're in. Level 5, you get your second +2 to an ability score of the character's choice. The voice again popping up in your head asking you what do you need to become stronger. At level 6, you gain the ability Blood Pack, Shield, and Sword. As a swift action, once per day for each level you possess, you may take any amount of con score damage to gain that same number for a deflection bonus to your AC or an insight bonus to an attack. This bonus lasts until the end of your next turn. The con damage is healed when the bonus ends. Your hit points are not. So now you're able to fluctuate and you're able to get higher bonuses to hit or high bonuses to your AC to make it so that way if you risk yourself, you take some HP, you take controlled HP damage to hopefully make sure you don't take really bad HP damage or from the attack that could hit you, or you increase your chance to hit to finish off a character so that way you don't have to worry about them anymore. This is just another flexible way to use your abilities. And then level 7, you get your second +1 to all the skills that use the second ability bump, or a +1 HP per hit die if con was chosen. Level 8, you gain Hot Blooded. Those who fail their saves against your Blood Bond now burn for 1d6 true damage per con modifier that you have. So really strong ability. If you're putting a lot of points into your Constitution score, you're going to do a lot of damage to people that hurt you. This is true damage. Way that I'm saying this is just pure damage. It's not resisted by damage resistance. It's not resisted by elemental resistance or spell resistance, anything like that. It's not resisted. It's pure damage. The fact is that if they fail their reflex save, it gets on them. They're going to burn. They're going to hurt, and it's going to do some serious damage. This is a great thing for melee combatants because essentially they make it so that whenever someone hurts them, they're going to get hurt back. It's going to make people think twice about attacking them again, especially if you're a range character or a caster. They're going to think twice about attacking you because it's going to hurt them just as much as it hurts you, unless they're much higher level than you and they're doing a serious amount of damage, or you have little to no con score, or you're the risky person that for some reason plays with a negative or a 9 or below or con score with a negative con attribute. Level 9, you get your third +2 to an ability score of your choice. At level 10, you get the ability Blood Pact Healing Hand. Whenever you make a melee piercing or slashing attack, or anything the GM would agree causes external bleeding, as a swift action, the Gauntlet can absorb the spilled blood to heal you an amount of hit points equal to your hit die plus your con modifier, or if using real health, stamina points, an amount of health equal to your con modifier. If you're using real health is a system that I'm going to be explaining at a later date. It's going to be a whole video on its own. It is a unique system that I built where I kind of got tired of Pathfinder's silly hit point system because it felt really weird. It didn't feel realistic, as realistic as I wanted it to be. And it felt like people could heal anything, and there was no point to taking damage, and it just felt silly. So real health is a system that I made that I'll talk about at a later date, so look forward to that video. And I just wanted to include this on this Gauntlet, because just in case we play with that system or you play with that system, that you could come back to either one of these videos. If you did this video first and you saw that there's real health, you have the real health to look forward to. If you saw the real health video and then you saw this one, you know that this one works with the real health system, and this is how it works. Outside of combat, should you choose to soak the Gauntlet in a pool of blood such as that from a slain enemy, it can, as a full round action, restore you to your current full hit points, or if using the real health system, full stamina and full health. Next, at level 11, you get your third +1 to all skills of the same ability as your third choice, or +1 HP per hit die if your con was chosen. Level 12, you gain an ability called Blood Bind. Your blood counts as difficult terrain for everyone but you whenever it is spilt, as described in Blood Bond, until it is washed away or dried up. So now you become a bit of a strategic asset on the battlefield, besides the fact that you're a warrior or you're a ranged character or you're a mage character. You now start to make hindering terrain that makes it so that way it makes double move to get through it. This is really good if you're the last line in a retreat and you end up getting hurt. You can end up making it very difficult for people to chase after you. If you're the first person in the front line and you end up having to retreat back, then again you make it difficult for people to charge forward. You make it difficult for people to charge past you. It's just a very unique concept that I really liked, and it's showing that your blood is fighting back. It's grabbing at people. It's trying to hurt your enemies. But you have to be careful because it does affect your teammates as well. It affects everyone but you. So your allies are going to get hindered terrain as well because your blood's just kind of grasping at people. It doesn't understand what your enemies are. Level 13, you get your fourth +2 to an ability score of your character's choice. Again, the voice asking you what you need to become more powerful. At level 14, you get an ability called Blood Pact Unstoppable. As a swift action, you may start bleeding an amount of damage per turn equal to your hit die to gain the benefits of one of the following abilities: fly 90 feet good, burrow 30 feet, swim 30 feet, climb 30 feet, base speed of 60 feet. This bleeding continues for as long as you choose to have the ability. The ability can be ended as a free action. So you have to be careful with this, but essentially you now have perfect flexibility for maneuverability in combat. Outside of combat, you need to fly over something, climb above something, get a burst of speed, swim through something, burrow down through and over or under something. You can now get that maneuverability by making yourself bleed. And for the most part, you make yourself bleed for just a turn to get the movement for just a turn, or however many turns you need it for. Be very careful, because if you end up bleeding completely out and you're flying, you're going to plummet to your death. If you're swimming, you're going to start drowning. If you're burrowing, you're going to be stuck underneath ground and you're going to need to be dug up. You're going to start suffocating. So you must be very careful. You must be very, very careful. You cannot, for example, for burrowing, you cannot just burrow underground, turn off the ability and stop bleeding and be fine. To survive burrowing, to survive being underground, you need to have the ability active. So just letting you know that as a GM, it's not written in here, but that is part of my rules that I run with. You should run with the same rules. Otherwise, your players are going to abuse it. They're going to burrow underground and stay underground for God knows how long. and then they're going to come up. They're going to abuse the system. So you got to be careful of those players. Next, at level 15, you get your 4th +1 to all skills that use your 4th ability, or +1 HP per hit die if con is chosen. At level 16, you gain the ability Fleeing Bleed. Now whenever your blood is spilled as described in Blood Bond, it sprays outward an extra 5 feet to a total of every square 10 feet around you. So now your ability to cause hindering terrain or to bleed on enemies and hurt enemies now just got better, because your blood is just scattering away and as far as it can, making more difficult hindering terrain, making it more difficult for people to run past you, making it more difficult for people to chase after you. And so yeah, this is just your body, your blood trying to fight back best it can. At level 17, your 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th ability scores change from +2s to +4s. If they were stacked on the same thing, that thing's going to get huge. If you were spreading them out, you're going to get a nice, a good boost to your skills, or to your bonuses. Now, your 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th skill bonuses that accompany them are also going to increase from +1s to +3s. Or no, +2s to +3s, I think, right? No, +1s. +1s to +3s. And then if you chose hit points instead, it's going to change from +1s to +2 per hit die. Or, yeah, per hit die if con was chosen. So huge bonus to your character, massive bonus to your character. Level 18, you gain the ability Blood Pack Siphoning Blood. Slaying an enemy heals you hit points and con score a number of equal to the slain creature's number of hit die. So you kill stuff, you kill a bunch of minions with low hit die, you're going to heal a little bits of damage. You kill a big boss, you're going to heal a bigger number of damage. It just gives your character a way to stabilize their ability and to use your abilities even more, because now you're healing just as much as you're minusing out your scores, and you're able to keep using your abilities over and over again without risk to yourself, as long as you're getting kills, and you can be extremely aggressive in combat. Next is level 19. You get an ability called Hungry Blood. Creatures that fail their Blood Bond save and get hit by your blood must make a Fortitude save to avoid being eaten by your blood. DC 10 plus half your hit die plus your con modifier. Killing them instantly. This is a death effect. So keep that in mind. So if they have resistances to death effects, they get them here. If they're immune to death effects, they're immune to them here. But essentially now your blood is extremely dangerous in the fact that if it spills on somebody, it's going to try and eat them whole. It's just going to try and consume them completely, which means it's going to kill them, which means it's going to heal you. So this is a really cool effect. It shows that your blood is very dangerous. This is really cool for if you're playing a charisma character. You can threaten entire groups of enemies by slaying somebody, or having someone hit you and then getting slain. This is a really cool effect. I really like it, and I'm glad I added it to the Gauntlet. And I hope you guys enjoy this ability too. It's going to make your character feel so much like a badass, almost like a Xeno. What are they called? Like a Venom character from Marvel, essentially. Levels 20, you get an ability called Blood Control. Creatures that fail their Hungry Blood save come back as a Blood Golem under your control for a number of turns equal to your con modifier. These blood golems have your Blood Bond, your Hot Blooded, your Blood Bind, your Fleeing Blood, and your Hungry Blood abilities, but all saves and damages are based off of your Constitution score, not the Blood Golem, which doesn't have a con score. When the Blood Golem dies, they explode, spreading your blood in a 20-foot radius. Now, you're probably trying to figure out, how do I do this without having to make a custom-made Blood Golem every time this happens? The easiest way to rule this is in the book. Use whichever Blood Golem is lower CR or lower hit die than the level of that is same or lower level than the same level as the character that died. So, for example, if there is a 4 hit die Blood Golem and you killed a level 5 creature, you're going to get the 4 hit die one. If you kill anything below the lowest level Blood Golem, you'll get the lowest level Blood Golem. But yeah, this makes it so that way you don't make a bunch of strong ones or you don't make a bunch of weak ones. You make fluctuating strength ones based on the different levels that you destroyed or creatures that you killed. And then finally, the description for the end is that the gauntlet starts to bubble and turn to liquid as it forces its way into your bloodstream, causing the powers granted by the voice to grow tenfold. So yeah, this is just a little flavor text at the end of what happens to the gauntlet when you reach level 20. It goes away just like all the other gauntlets, and this is how it does it. So otherwise, I hope that you guys enjoyed the gauntlet. I hope you guys look forward to using it. If you do end up using it, come tell me in a stream. Come tell me on my most recent video comments. Come back to this video and comment if you want. I'll try to keep track of all that. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. If you guys have ideas of how to make it better or how to change it, or if you guys feel it needs more balancing, go ahead, let me know. I'd love to hear everybody's opinion. I can't promise that I'll make changes, but you're free to make changes to the items yourselves. You can take them. And then also, I haven't been saying this, but I'll start saying this now. All my videos that had documents that I read off, that I showed, should have those documents in the description below. So if you guys want to use these gauntlets and stuff like that, but you don't want to have to keep coming back to my video every time you want to find it, there are the Google Docs links in the description below, and that you can just save, bookmark those documents, locations, and you can look them up anytime you want. So other than that, I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you look forward to more, and I hope that you guys have a safe adventure.